Welcome to the STARS program, seniors taking active roles in society. And now, here's your host, ANITA FINLEY.
Dr. Brenda Calhoun Snipes, who's the Supervisor of Elections from Broward County. What a major job you have, Dr. Snipes. Are you sleeping at night?
Well, we'll put that out for a little while. Right now, it's so important to get everything done so that the voters can have a good experience. But things are going well.
Yeah, that's great. And I just, I am so happy to be able to talk to you. I know that you've served quite a few terms here ever since November 2004, huh?
That's exactly right. It's 2003. So I'm in my fourth term, I believe, third term. And I'm in my 13th year. So
Did you ever dream you would be the Broward County Supervisor of Elections?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I spent most of my career in the school system, and I did a lot of things in terms of skills in the school system that I do now. But I certainly had no idea I would end up as election supervisor. But it's been a great run.
And it's important. It's really important. Tell us what the major, what you are so interested and why you've come up so you've gotten up so early this morning to talk about this. What do you want your Broward County population to know?
Well, we're in the middle of a presidential preference primary, and we're prepared to serve all the voters in Broward County, so we want them to come out and vote. Over the past few years, turnout in all elections has been an issue, except, I think, for the past two presidential elections, and turnout's become an issue all over the country. So we want voters to just decide, I want to be a part of the process, and I'm going to take action and go out to vote. So we have voting available today. As a matter of fact, we're in the last 2 days of early voting, which has gone very well. And we want voters to come out and get involved. We're open from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. We have 20 sites across Broward County. We tried to put something in place so that it would be convenient for anyone who wants to vote. And voters can go to any of the sites, and we use an electronic system where we'll be able to pull up their ballot that fits their address, matches their address. They vote. It takes all of 5 minutes, and they're done for the day. So,
Amazing.
I just want them to know a good experience is waiting for them. Just come out and take advantage of it.
And you have a lot of volunteers, don't you, who help you with this?
Absolutely. And we have volunteers who do a lot of different things. I estimate that we have anywhere from 7,000 to 8,000 volunteers. We have truck drivers, and we have van drivers. We have poll workers. We have poll deputies and special deputies. So it's just a big group of people. And the folks have stepped forward really well for this election. And, of course, we've already got everyone we need because we work on the 15th of March. That's election day. But we will be getting ready for the next election pretty soon. So if anybody's interested, we'll take their information and get them all set up to go in August and November.
Well, this is, I'm so interested in this and that this whole early voting. When did early voting start? I mean, has it been going on for 10 years, 20 years? How?
It's about 10 years. I remember we did the first early voting in 2004, and that's when it was introduced, and it was pretty successful, but it was on a smaller scale, and it has grown and grown over the years to be one of the most popular forms of voting, and I think that's because they have so much convenience, and voters can exercise great options. They can choose the day, the time, the location, and I think that is making a big difference in terms of how people respond to early voting, but it's very popular.
Yeah, and because there are a lot of people, even though we live in a county in South Florida where a lot of retirees, there are a lot of people who work, and they can't make that one day. I remember Tuesdays was always a Tuesday, and we had to make arrangements with babysitters. We had to do all sorts of things, but now you can just do whenever it's convenient.
Just put it in your schedule and, vote when it's convenient for you. So we got the early vote, and of course we have the vote by mail, and that's going very well, I think, for for primary election, we've had over 70,000 people.
Really?
Excuse me, to return ballots. Mm-hmm.
That's spectacular.
Yes, it's been. I think it's been a good response. So, but folks love it, and vote by mail as well as early voting. I believe the convenience factor is kind of what drives people to choose those two options.
But even though voting by mail is very convenient, there's something that I still get excited about, Dr. Snipes, when I go into, the area where we're allowed to, and I don't vote in Broward. I live in Palm Beach County, but it's the same idea of voting, and you see everybody sitting there or standing, thinking about who they're going to vote for, and then you go into that booth, and so many people have fought all their lives, whether they were in World War II or now all the other things, to be able to have people have that privilege. And here we are standing there with our hand, making sure that the people we want, we can vote for. That's such a privilege. That's why you love this, don't you?
Mm-hmm. I guess so, because I grew up in the South, and I can remember a time when everybody wasn't able to vote. And just to have the experience, I say it's the great equalizer, because each voter has a vote that's equal to everyone else who votes. It doesn't matter what your background is, what language you speak, or, where you come from. Everybody's vote is equal. One person, one vote. And so, it just puts us all on the same level. And that's why it's important for everybody to participate. And when you vote, at least people know you're out there, that you care what happens, and that you may challenge if things aren't going as you wish. And we know we're not going to always have everything we want personally. But, for the community, for the society at large, voting is just a way to have your voice heard and to get your say in. And it's free.
That's one of the last things. It's free. And you're not going to run out of I voted buttons, are you?
We have lots and lots and lots of them. As a matter of fact, if a parent comes and they have a child with them, I think it's so important that we give the children our voting stickers. And I did that just a few days ago. And I looked at the face of the little kids and talked to them a little bit about what voting was, and they just stood prouder, and I think it's exciting.
Well, you're coming from the school in the world, being, I guess you were on the school board, weren't you?
Well, I was an educator. I worked, when I retired, I was an area director. So
right, and so
schools, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Do you have actual people going into the schools to teach the kids about the voting and bringing these little buttons? Had you ever thought about that?
Yeah, well, we go into the schools and conduct voter registration. We do it with the assistance of the students and their sponsors. And we've been doing this now on a very large scale, but we have worked closely with the schools, and we have access to their Beacon, which is their television program, television system. Mm-hmm. And so we do distance learning for all of the schools on the same day from the Beacon studios, and we're training the young people how to conduct their own voter registration drives, and our staff goes in to assist. So 1 week out of the year, we do the voter registration drives, and then once we've done the drives, which have been very successful, I think we just registered over 14,000 kids between the ages of 16 and 18. The 16 and 17-year-olds, of course, are pre-registered and will be able to vote as soon as they turn 18. But we had about 14,000 kids, which was one of the largest years we've had. But once the students vote and get registered and are able to vote, then we also hire them to work in the polling places. So in the polling places this election day, we have a significant number of young people who are working with the equipment. They'll be the ones who are making sure that the equipment is operating properly throughout the day. They also serve on call centers that we have set up out at the Emergency Operations Center. So we register the young people, but we also engage them in the voting process.
You're really on it.
Well, it's I don't know.
No, I'm very thrilled to hear that. I've actually had television shows on Beacons, and I know how great they are, and the fact that you're utilizing that, and of course you should. But this is so important. Well, let's talk about people. What's some of the confusion out there about people voting? Is there any?
Well, this year in particular, because it's a primary, and many voters are not registered to one of the major parties. They're registered as NPA. Then there's confusion about whether they can vote or what they can vote on. But a person who does not have a membership in one of the major parties, Democrat or Republican, in 5 cities, there are 5 municipalities which are voting too. Those individuals can vote in those cities. But overall, those who are registered as NPA, there's nothing on the ballot for them to vote for. So some people choose NPA for various reasons. And, we like for them if they can change their party up to 29 days in advance. So we promoted that for this election, and we'll do it again for the August election because August is also a primary. There'll be a lot of local races that are on that ballot. So we want folks to put emphasis on the local races as well. A lot of times we look to the national as the event that's critical, and we go out for that, turn out fairly well. But we don't turn out as well for local races, and it's important for everybody. We call it to check your status, to find out where your polling place is, to see which party you're registered to, and, we send out voter information cards on a fairly regular basis whenever there's a change. So we want folks to use that card. It is an information piece, giving everyone their party, their name of their polling place, the location of the polling place, and the districts that they vote in. So it's a real critical piece of information. So we want folks to use it, but that no party affiliation causes quite a bit of confusion. And parties can be changed back and forth so long as it's done at least 29 days before the election.
Okay. I want everyone to know that this wonderful guest is Dr. Brenda Calhoun Snipes, who's Supervisor of Elections, Broward County. Dr. Snipes was asked by then Governor Jeb Bush to serve out the term of Supervisor of Elections in Broward County. She began this appointment on November 20th in 2003. She was reelected for a four-year term in November 2004, 8, and again in 2012. If you want more information, you can go visit the Broward County Supervisor of Elections website at browardsoe.gov. browardsoe.gov. Is that correct?
That's .org.
Oh,
browardsoe.org, yes.
Oh, okay, .org. I have gov. That's wrong then, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's wrong. All right. Well, we have it right now. So let's reiterate this. So people now, they can go today, as Dr. Snipes said, you can go and do early voting, but you must do it on Tuesday. If not, if you wait, and don't wait because you never know, you may get sick or something, and you'll be so disappointed. So try to go ahead of time. So you have it today, and then you will have it again, I guess, on Monday before, and then for sure on Tuesday, right?
Well, we have it today and tomorrow. So we
Sunday.
Close early voting tomorrow. And then, so options are going out the window. Tomorrow afternoon, that's the last option for choosing, location, time, place, and so on. But, so we're done with early voting Sunday afternoon. We've made Sunday available for our voters because a lot of voters like to do special things, gather from church and go vote early.
Right.
So we try to make Sundays available, and we're going to be open to 7 p.m. on Sunday. And that'll be, we take it as a challenge because we need to get everything out of the locations and back so we can turn it around and get it out for Tuesday. But it is important to our voters, so we really try to listen to what the voters say. And if there's something we can do within that falls within the legal confines from the election laws, then we certainly would make it available.
Right. Well, it's a big job. I actually, before I have you on the show, I did a little bit of investigation, and your position and what you represent has not been in my field of focus. So I learned a lot. You're
Well,
really
good.
quite a woman. Tell me a little bit about your history. How long have you lived? Have you always lived here in South Florida?
Well, I came to South Florida for my first job as soon as I graduated from college,
Huh.
and I went to school in Alabama. I grew up in Alabama. I lived there all my life. I never traveled a lot, and I was asked to come here in 1964 by Mrs. Blanche Ely, and there are a lot of people don't even know that, never knew Mrs. Blanche Ely, but I was fortunate to be asked to come to Florida for a position at Blanche Ely High School. And I'd never traveled by myself before, but I came here on a Trailways bus.
Oh,
And it took 24 hours, and I made it, and I'm still here.
oh my! That's a beautiful history. Well, keep going. So then, what happened?
Well, I, of course, came to work in the school system, and I worked in the school system, and I kind of had an opportunity to move through the ranks. I always enjoyed whatever job I had. I always just made it my passion. And so I became, what did I do after working in the high schools? Then I went into adult education. I worked there for a while. And then I must have gotten a position at the county, the district level, as in the Human Resources Department. And I created a program for folks who were interested in becoming school administrators. And that program was out there because there was a settlement with the school system, and it was a legal settlement, and it said we had to have more opportunities for minorities, especially blacks, to have an opportunity to get in the door and get more information on how what it was important to become an administrator. So I applied for the job, and I got it. It was very exciting, extremely exciting. I stayed in that job for a number of years, and I went to director of in-service for all of the staff development that we had in Broward County for teachers. And where did I go? Then I must have left there and gone to become a principal at a local elementary school, which was Markham Elementary in Pompano. And that was so important because the school was struggling academically, and the superintendents wanted them to have more opportunities for staff development. So I went there as co-principal, and that was the first time we'd ever done a co-principalship in Broward County. But it worked. I think I was there about 6 years. And we turned the school around and proved that education could be done at a high level in a school that was struggling. And I'm still very fond of that school. I know there are some issues there now, in terms of academics. But I do know that having two principals there, although it was expensive, it worked for the kids. It worked for the kids, and it worked for the community.
That was a great idea. And I was just thinking back about this little lady, the little girl from Alabama on the Trailways bus coming to this foreign country, in a sense. And she came down, and what did your family think about this? Are they nervous about it?
Well, my family had always been extremely supportive. Both of my parents were educators. Our whole family pretty much was educators. But at the time that I was offered the position down here, had it not been for them starting school at the same time, then they would have brought me to South Florida. There were 4 girls in my family. We never went anywhere without our parents. So, it was kind of scary, but I've always liked a challenge. And here I am still, handling a challenge. But
this is a big challenge. You're really and you've been doing so well for so long. Well, it's great, hearing about your history, because a lot of people, somehow people in the public as you are, they don't ever share that. And I think people love to know a little bit more about you. And you have a family?
I do. I have 2 daughters. I have 2 granddaughters. Married to the same person for, I think it'll be 52 years.
Oh, my.
We've been together ever since college. We're best friends. We do everything together. And as I said before, I have 3 sisters and, of course, lots of nieces and nephews. And we're very close. We still are very close. We are involved with each other, visits and things like that as much as possible. And so I think the family structure was extremely important. My grandmother was a teacher as well. So, we've done things like trips to see where our forefathers are buried, and I actually know where my great-great-grandmother is buried in Alabama.
Wow.
And, we visited when we have our family reunions. I visited her site. I think we've been there twice, and it's really an interesting experience.
How is that? How is that? Tell me what that's like.
Well, there's a family plot. My great-great-grandmother's buried there, and her children, some of the grandchildren are there. And my grandfather, who was one of her sons, was a stonemason, and he carved way back then. He carved all the gravestones for everybody. But my great-great-grandmother was born she was born as an Indian slave in Alabama. And so just to go there and see where she was born, to see where she lived, where she died, and to see the heritage that rests there on that hill in Montgomery, Alabama, it was really significant.
Sounds that way. Well, you're significant, actually. I'm just sitting here with a big smile on my face. I'm sorry you're not here that I can look directly at you, but maybe that'll happen. If anything happens, Maria Saldani will get us together, if anybody.
Yes, she will. She is fantastic. She
is. Yeah, she is a wonderful woman. But whenever she recommends anyone to me, you're always in the same vein. It's always people who, have demand respect and who are doing great things for the community. And so you see, you didn't get here casually. This is, it's important. So if you're having a problem, though, with any of this voting, you just go ahead and speak to someone at the voting center where you go. I'm sure they're going to be very helpful. Don't be afraid. It may be the first time you're voting. Whatever it is, go there. And these are just other people like you. They happen to maybe have, a badge on or something. But go find your place. Tell them that maybe you're a little confused and you need some help. But please do vote. You will feel so happy when you put your head on your pillow at night and you know that you voted. Whether the person you voted for or not wins doesn't matter. It's the fact that you're here. You did something that so many people have fought for and died for so that we can be here to vote. And I know that Dr. Brenda Snipes will be very, very pleased. And she knows when she goes to bed at night, she smiles. She knows she's done a good job. Right, Dr. Snipes?
That's absolutely right. It's important for the voters to know that our goal is to help them have a successful experience. It's not to turn them away. It's not to be rude. If they have a problem, we're going to work to see if we can figure that problem out. We can't always solve it, but we certainly are going to give it our best effort. And our staff, the folks who volunteer for us, they're very well trained. Many of them are return volunteers. They've worked polling places for many, many years, but they keep coming back year after year. But we go through extensive training, and customer service is one of those pieces that we emphasize, and that's to give the voters the best that we got.
Yeah, and I know that. I'm sure that's really true. I know even if I'm voting in Palm Beach County, but I've always been amazed at, sometimes there are big crowds, but everything's quiet and everybody's friendly and very helpful. And so that's really what it is. And, of course, it doesn't happen everywhere this way. We hear horror stories throughout the country, but here, at least in Broward County, Palm Beach County, and hopefully Miami-Dade, we're going to have a very, very good election process. And Dr. Snipes, it's just absolutely so wonderful to talk to you, and I wish you so much good fortune with this, and you just stay as passionate as you are. And maybe one more thing before you leave, give us some advice on how people stay married for 52 years.
I don't know. I think just trying to spend quality time together and communicate with each other. And sometimes even when you are upset about something, you have a concern about something, don't hold it in. Let it out. Just talk about it, and you can usually work it out. Some things may take a little bit longer than others, but we've been married 52 years, but we've been together for 54 years.
Oh, my.
A long time.
Oh, my. Well, that's beautiful. That's a beautiful story, and Thank you so much. I'm glad I got to know you at least over the radio.
Thank you, and I really appreciate you giving us this opportunity.
It's my pleasure, really.
I really do.
Okay, good luck. You go back to sleep.
All right. Well, we got to get the day going. So
Okay.
thank you so much.
You're welcome. Bye.
All righty.